What's going on, guys? How are you? Just quickly getting set up here. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Hope everyone had a decent trading day. Let me quickly update. Go live. Okie dokie. Awesome. Just give a few seconds for folks to come online. What's going on, guys? What's going on? What's up, Ella and Nissa? Hopefully everyone's logging on now. 15 viewers. Okay, everyone's flying in now. Let me quickly update. Okay. Awesome guys. Stephen D, how are you? Mudtron, how are we? Quickly make one more post. 1 second, guys, for all the premium folks. Give me 1 sec. Hope you guys are navigating these markets well. It's been quite a, what I'd call a shit show. A lot of chop recently, so I'm going to cover a lot of that stuff today. Jeffrey, how are we? Patrick Singh, how we doing? I'm going to give about another 30 seconds here, let folks hop on. I don't really have too much today, but really wanted to open it. What's up, Rubbing Marks, Patrick, Life Choices? How we doing, guys? How we doing? Happy Wednesday. Okay, 30, 40 viewers coming in. So just trying to get to 100 real quick, and we'll get started. Yeah, markets have been really choppy, guys. It's been sort of frustrating price action to sort of follow through, other than, scalping in and out both ways. But I'm going to talk through some stuff, what I'm looking at, where maybe the market's. Oscar, how we doing? Tarson, how we doing? Hunter, Kite, how we doing? Corey, what's going on? Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, cool. I'm going to get started. Some folks have been on the line already. It just popped another 30, 40 viewers. Vime, how are we? What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Yeah, so hopefully, get a pen and paper. So real quick, guys, start to think of maybe a question or two you may want to ask me, or just generate to the community, or, to everyone following here. I'll try and do some Q&A at the end, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes worth of Q&A. Let's get some, questions answered, maybe trade tactics, scanners, what I'm trading on, 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute intervals, candlestick charts, any questions you guys have in mind about trading. What I'm looking in a short day trade, what I'm looking on a short position, what I'm looking for long term, mid swing, whatever it is. Get some questions. Hunter, Ryan, how are we? Monisar, how are we? Habir, how are we? Thanks for joining, guys. I'm gonna get started. So this is Spud from Spud Zone. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not an investment advisor. Everything I do, I trade on my own retail money. Everything is based off of mostly technical analysis, as well as momentum and scanners. Obviously trade at your own will. This is me, and I day trade for full time for a living. I obviously help share a lot of my ideas on what I think is, what I'm trading in real time. So, hopefully it finds beneficial. If you guys want to follow me more, you can follow me on StockTwits at SpudZone Official. I have about 23,000 followers there. You can follow me on Webull. A little over 53,000 followers there, as well as the Discord. We have about 17, almost 18,000 members now in the Discord. Highly recommend it. It's a premium server. I'm here to teach how to trade. I love to coach and teach. You can learn more there. I also give all my real-time alerts and picks there on long-term, short-term, day trades, etc. So highly recommend the Discord. You could see that in the YouTube bio if you guys want to see. Awesome. So to hop into it today, guys, I'm going to cover the SPY as a global sort of as a a U.S. market sort of outlook from a technical standpoint, technically speaking, and then I'm going to also cover a few tickers, a couple large cap and a couple small cap. That we've seen sort of make some breakouts, or that not even that, or we've seen maybe some nice pullbacks come. So I'm going to be focused on some of these names. So I'm going to look at AFRM. I'm going to look at UPST, Upstart. I'm going to look at SPY, SPY. I'm going to look at FAMi, FAMI. Going to look at CEI, Camber Energy. Don't even get me started with this one. I want to... I'm down south in Charleston right now. There's a balcony over here. I want to just hang my head over the balcony and bash it because, that CEI trade. I'll get started. I'm going to talk through that one later. But tons of opportunity there, especially a lot of the folks in the group. I'm seeing 700, 800% gains. It was a ridiculous call. So CEI, that will be the last one I cover, and then I'm going to do a Q&A, guys. So let's start off with. So today, let's run through the SPY. So this is the S&P 500. Basically just a huge index, guys, huge ETN. Let me quickly get rid of some of these indicators to make the, sort of like a smooth sort of chart here. Let's see. Let's look at the 1 hour. Actually, no. Let's look at the daily chart. Daily chart in the SPY is pretty good. So, we're sitting at all-time high for a while, and then, out of the last, let's see, 7, 14, 14 to 20, guys, trading sessions, we're starting to see volume start to pick up. We're seeing some big red candles that we haven't seen in weeks to months. We're starting to see a little bit of selling pressure start to trickle down with the highs of 454 up in here. We had a dip down to 435. That sort of broke. We're fighting under that trend line here. So if you take this dip, right, which is a double bottom here, 436 almost, we're fighting below that trend line. So I would say there's more downside exposure down to like the 426 mark. I do like this gap. I'd call this a gap down. And this is really where I told folks, this is where I personally would like to take some long opportunities here. When the markets get to 425, 426, I'd like to get in heavier size if the markets take down about 414. That's where I'm going to be looking to go major long. And then 405, sort of like let's sort of load the boat on some good names if it ever gets down to there. I personally don't know if we're going to get that full 10% correction. People are already thinking, wow, what a correction we've had. Guys, we're only really down 3, 4, max 5% from all-time highs. I mean, that's really nothing. We could do another 5% down in a blink of an eye on the global exchange here. So, I think it would be super healthy to get a 10, 15% pullback. It gives you an opportunity, some bulls to get in some great names for multi-year plays. That I think companies, there's going to be a ton of companies that are just going to blow it up in the next 5 to 10 years. And, a lot of them are trading at high premiums already. And I'd love to maybe get, a washout on the global exchanges here, on SPY to maybe basically get an entry for an opportunity to make some, make some percentage gains in the next few years. So I'm hoping we get that pullback. I'm still not confident. I do still think we have an opportunity to close higher on the year of 2021 over that 454. I do think we're still in an ultra bull market. But that being said, we do sort of need a pullback. We're up 100% from sort of lows on the year, which is a phenomenal year in the S&P. Just keep in mind, large funds, index funds, brokerage, people are shooting for 7 to 10% a year in the markets. So, this year we've seen almost 100% move on the S&P from lows to highs. I mean, that's covering, 7 to 10 years worth of ground there. I mean, that's a big move. So you got to expect some sort of profit taking, right? It's way above the average in terms of growth. So, that's the SPY in terms of what I'm looking at. And then if you went full bear mode, if this 403 breaks, I would call that a run for the hills. We might see 380s then. That might be long-term, right? A few years down the road, could be 6 to 12 months. In terms of the short-term picture, those are the support lines I like. 425. I like 4. See this bar here? I like the bottom bar here. I like 415. And then, as I mentioned, we got a double bottom candle here, right? And what a double bottom means is like if picture this as an equity or a stock, right? If this drops and then rips up, drops again, and bounces up, where the support, that would be support, right? So 405 is my big support. That's a 2x bottom, right? So if we were to smash down to there, I would call it now a 3x bottom, look for a major bounce. That's where the buying pressure would probably start to come in. Sellers would probably start to exhaust themselves and start to cover in those areas. So, guys, we do have an opportunity maybe for some more downside. I do think it's going to be choppy, plus a half a percentage point here and there. Today we had, some sort of selling off into close, very expected. I think we probably get a red day maybe tomorrow or Friday at least. May trade sideways here today for the next, until maybe an event. We do have inflation, we have tapering, we have interest rates. In my opinion, guys, there's a lot more negative news to potentially that can come versus a positive catalyst. I mean, I see more downside here short term. So, play it as is. I'm still being safe. I'm using smaller size. I'm riding puts and shorts where I need to be. I'm not a huge buyer. I'm not loading the boat on these dips yet. I've taken a few small positions in some, large cap names, as I've mentioned. ATVI, Tesla is one, but Tesla's not really dipping. I'm expecting a big dip on Tesla soon. I'd love to see a Tesla dip back down to 650, 700s in the short term. That would be pretty healthy, I think, for that one. But right now it's riding off some EV hype. Another long I liked is BABA. I've been alerting the 150 to 154, 155 zones for long term. It's down 50, 60% in the year. It's a huge company. I love it. I like it from a technical standpoint. I do think it can go lower to the 130s, if the market sort of, corrects itself. But that being said, it's been green the last couple sessions in bleeding market sessions. So, maybe it's already priced in. BABA's not really falling down. We may have finally found a support line. So keep an eye on that one off the 150 mark. I like it off the 150 mark. Could see that, 160, 170, 180 bounce. That's where I'd like to see it. That was BABA. So I'm going to talk through a couple more here. AFRM. We've had a ton of price upgrades here to the 130s, 140s, 150s. We're seeing two or three selling sessions now in a row. We have this sort of hit all-time highs, 133. We've had a -10, -1 today. I'd love to see a flush, guys. I'd love to see a flush to 104, 105 zones. For me, that would be a triple bottom, right? We have a drop here, a move up, a drop here, a move up. That would be a double bottom off these little wicks. See these wicks coming down? This is a daily chart. 103, 105 is where I'd like to go long. I alerted a heavy buy alert last time it hit that. You could have made a net of 25 to 30% on that push there off that pull. I would like to go long in here. I think $100 calls for December might be a great play on that if it hits 105, or maybe 120 calls. Also, like just shares off the 105 risk. Anything below 100, I'd probably stop loss out. Could see more downside to the 90s. So I like the 105 with a 99 stop. I like that. I like that trade. I like that play. Calls for the max exposure. If you want to go calls, you might be able to make 50, 100% on the calls if the markets continue to go up bullish. As I mentioned, there was a big tech sell-off. You saw the QQQ, which is mostly majority of tech index. Saw that sort of sell-off the last couple of days. Hence why you're seeing a lot of these tech names sort of sell off. This is down 12% in 2 sessions. Another name I like, Upstart Holdings. As everyone knows, very familiar with this one. I don't even know where to go with this one. Let's look at this chart, guys. I alerted this thing, way below that. I alerted this right in here. 80 to 90 bucks a share. I said, buy here, maybe look to sell 120, 130. And we got that in 6 sessions. And I'm like, holy moly, let's maybe increase price targets. Then it sort of consolidated for a long time. And then this thing, guys, just ripped. And now it's just ripping. There's no selling pressure. Any dip 2-3% is getting absolutely bought up. I mean, this thing's going 2-3% on a bad day. I mean, we had a crash yesterday. 5%, not even a crash, 5%, and then the next day everyone just loads up the dip. So I mean, there could be a bigger move coming here. I don't see. I've lost a ton of cash recently trying to time the downside of this one. I've learned my lesson. There is no downside to this beast right now, and for me, it's just not worth the trade or the risk or the exposure anymore. So I've sort of given up on the bearish stance of this. I've went bullish because it's just not dropping. Dips and it rips every time. It's a great day trade. It almost does the same pattern every morning. It dumps, and then it rips back to higher highs. So do keep an eye on Upstart. That's UPST. Folks should be up, let's see, 162.43, 20. Almost a 300% bagger here on this one. That's another long swing trade that hit, way above targets. That's a 300 bagger. That's a long swing trade that I recommended in the Discord channel that I took the trade idea, and that's a 300 bagger. Another crazy move today, or just not today, the last month. CEI, guys. Ticker CEI. This is probably one of my best calls of 2021. As many know who are probably watching this chat, we caught CEI right in here. Let me just look at the daily. I mean, we have to really zone in here because it's so long ago that we caught this. I alerted in here 0.50 for a scalp. I even alerted a 0.60 entry in here, down in here. And basically, why did I see... people are like, how did you call? How did you find CEI? How did you know it was going to potentially go up? Well, if you look at the weekly, monthly chart, guys, this is how I sort of figured this one out. I'm going to go to the weekly chart, okay, guys? This is a multi-year. This goes all the way back to 2019, or that's 2 years ago. If you notice, what's the bottom on this candle, guys? Anyone notice that? That's 67 cents, right? What's the bottom right here that consolidates? What's this? 50 cents, okay? What's the bottom here? 70 cents, okay? What's the bottoms down in here? Okay, that's 80. What's now the bottom down in here? 70 cents again, 60 cents. So in that zone, I said, okay, we've seen a bounce go from 60 cents to the wick of 380, right? We've then seen a bounce go from 60 cents, 50 cents, to a wick of 310. Then we get back in this zone. That's happened twice now in 2 years. So if charts like to repeat themselves, guys, what's going to happen on this 50, 60 cents? Why did I alert it there? Because there's an opportunity for this to maybe see 1, 2, 3 again. We're here. This hit 450 today. What's this wick hit today? 474. Now, why did the wick stop there? Pretty simple. Only the smart traders probably saw this one. You saw the wick, that went up to 456 right here on the weekly. So that's why traders started taking profits in the fours, because that's where the last wick went. It's a pretty obvious move. After the 420, 430, it's pretty overextended on the weekly chart. And that's the 2-year picture, guys. That is a big picture. That's a 2-year outlook. So sometimes when you look at these parabolic moves, this hit 800% plus at peak off my alert at 50 cents. So, these gains are not, these types of moves are very rare. You don't really see them, but when you look at this weekly chart, guys, you saw this move potentially brewing. Once it sort of broke that 220, you might see that 4, and we saw that. And that's when new traders came in. We were in here from the 60s, 70s. A lot of people are selling the 1s, 2s. Fine, take your 300, 400%. It's insanity. What a move. I am kicking myself, but this is why we trade. I had 500,000 shares at probably 50, 60 cents. And this is why we trade. I could have made a few $1 million on this trade, but I didn't feel comfortable swinging that kind of size. So I was out 70, 80 cents, which was my first price target for about 20, 30%. So it's, these are great opportunities. You don't really get some of these names a lot. These can make or break your couple years of trading. I mean, you hit on one of these and you're really setting yourself up on your account for some serious, percentage gains, compound gains. So, this is what I'd call a lottery home run play. I mean, this just blew out all price targets. Where do I see this going? A lot of people are like, where do you see this going? It's so overextended right now. I've alerted sell, take profits in the 2s, in the 3s, now in the 4s. I'm still alerting sell, because as we know, what goes up this fast typically comes down just as fast. I personally would be a seller here, and I'd be a seller all the way down to 3. I think this sees 2s very quickly again. That's just my opinion, guys. This has ran 800, 900%. Maybe it's because I have FOMO and I didn't take any positions, but I'd say anything in the mid 4s might be a good short from here, and maybe target sub 3s. But as I mentioned, there's still a lot of hype around this. So when there's a lot of hype, this still can continue. If you see that 450 break, clean break, you might see 5 or 6s. But I think it's got to break clean. It's got to hold it. Otherwise, I think shorts are going to run the show off 450 resistance. Play it as is. That's ticker CEI. Hopefully folks made a killing on that one. This thing is a ton of free money trades on this one going up. You basically just have to buy dips, sell rips, and you're there. It's a new high every day for the last 7 sessions. So that's CEI. Another one. What else should I go over? Another one. What else are we going to go over? We did the SPY, we did AFRM, we did UPST, we did CEI. Let's look at FAMi. I hate this stock. I absolutely hate this stock. Probably because I have a grudge. I was up about 7K in the IRA. On this day when it pushed 40%, I was pumped because at the time this was showing, this is a daily, this is a weekly chart. Let me look at the daily. This ticker FAMi, they had a huge offering, but so this play here, it was up about 34%, guys, and I'm like, wow, this could fill the gaps, maybe back to 1 or back to 66. That was my real price target. Next morning, I wake up, there's an offering. So I went from up 7K my Roth IRA, small size, about 20 grand worth, to down like 2 or 3K, maybe 5K. And I woke up, I was down 51%. I was, yeah. And so right in here, guys, I mean, I woke up, it was a terrible feeling. I'm like, oh, this can gap. This might fill the gaps all the way back up, maybe 80 cents, maybe even $1 as a grand slam. I thought it might have an opportunity to do what a CEI did. And then it sort of just slammed down the offering. But, now it sort of just died out, tons of volume. And then today was a crazy pop, 40%. 764 million shares went through today. That is a crazy move. If you caught it in here, great. Take the scalp and run. Maybe we see a 2-day high, pushes back to the 0.40s. Maybe peak at 45.45, under that 0.46 crisp. Maybe look at the top of this wick as a resistance, 48. Maybe we see that be another 50% from here. That would be a lot, guys. That would be another 30-40% from here. I look to sell on this name. I don't love the name. It's super diluted. There's a monster short float. Maybe it squeezes. Maybe it doesn't. Had a ton of volume today. I look to just scalp this name. This is not one I'd be like holding overnight down here. That was FAMi. There's a couple other memester names, sub pennies. I like Naked, NAKD. I like USWS, although it sort of failed out today. I did like FAMi off the 0.27 risk, 27 cents risk. CEI sort of woke up the sub $1 pennies, and you saw how violent of a move that was to the upside. People were looking for the similar type of trade. So you could look for some potentially sub 1 pennies that might make big moves. Keep an eye on some of those. Past ones are like JagX, GEVO, a bunch of those. So, those are those. I'm going to stop now. I've went through for about 20 minutes, guys. Almost 30 minutes, actually. 25 minutes per se. I want to get to some Q&A. So let's get to some Q&A. I'm going to pull up my phone here. Just look at the YouTube comments. And I'll walk through if it's a chart. I'm going to try and get through everyone. So do please sort of run through that if you guys could. Let me see. If you guys want to start shooting questions out, I can start to slowly answer some and gather. So made 50% out of 20, in at 23 out of 38. Great, Josh. That's an awesome trade. Great trade. So go ahead, guys. Start to shoot questions. I'm not going to scroll back. Just shoot some questions. There are 105 of you here on the live chat, but I want to try and answer. I want to make sure this session, guys, is the most valuable session you find on YouTube. That is my goal at the end of the day. I want to make sure everyone's learning. I want to try and teach and coach as many new traders as possible. I want to teach and coach in my Discord. See my Discord. I'm all here to help you guys, and sort of, knowledge is power here. So some of you guys' questions help me learn back and forth. So start to shoot some questions out. Oscar D, what do you think about Zoom? Let's check it. That's ZM, Zoom video, correct? Zoom video, I guess you're talking about, Oscar D. Wow, this thing sort of definitely bled off here. They had that earnings. I knew it'd go down from 290, but 258. Let's look at the chart here, Oscar. From the technical speaking standpoint, it looks like there's some buying demand around 230 there. Let's see. There's a ton of buying, some demand around 270. That broke. Okay. Next would be around 230. 230 sort of where maybe you want to go along here. Might be some more downside. 250 maybe try as a support. Then I'd probably look for 230. This could have some more downside here, but I do like the name. I think maybe if it washes out a little bit more, I might even be a buyer. I appreciate that, putting on the radar. It's down 6% in 2 sessions. I do like this one. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Oscar. I will definitely keep that on the watch list. I was watching that off 290s. I was short in there at 3, but 250 sounds like a nice buy-in. So 250 maybe with another buy-in around 230. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Thanks, Oscar. Could you talk about naked SSSR? That's Monitor Sally. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Um, SSR naked. Yeah, that could help the stock tomorrow. I do agree, but I'm not a big fan of SSR. So I mean, it does, and there's ways around that stuff. So I would be I would be cautious, but I do like the naked chart. I think it's got an inside candle squeeze, maybe back to 0.80s. I do like it. I did alert buys in the 70.72 dip today. 0.70, dip. I like it with a stop under 6.68. 68 cents, and I like it back to 0.80s. I think there could be a move if sub pennies continue to show strong momentum. That's an only if, right? So that's my naked trade thesis. How do you find stocks to potentially trade? Patrick Singh. I use scanners. Trade Ideas is an expensive scanner, so if you're a new trader, potentially it's a little too expensive option for you. You could use FinViz, or you could use Webull Top Gainers. That's going to show you the top liquidity leaders along with the top percentage range leaders. So parameters, you can do low floats, and then large cap, you can do percentage gap ups. So percentage gap ups, if Tesla's up 3%, if Baba's up 3%, it could sort of hit your scanner there. Or Lucid today hit my scanner. That was a nice trade both ways. It was long and short. How'd you get the name Spud? Trevor Leapak. It's actually my childhood nickname. Everyone called me Spud, so that's sort of where I kind of ran with that. And then I not so much got famous with Spud, but sort of had a big social media following for stocks on Spud, and I kind of just ran with it. And now it's now we got the Spud zone everywhere. So that's sort of how I came across that nickname. Can you please talk about ticker MKD? Let me look it up real quick. MKD. This is Hunter. No, sorry. This is sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Habibar Ramen. Interesting chart, looking like a FAMi. Maybe that's why it's going off. I know it's a China name. Maybe a fill back to the 0.40s gap fill, but as I mentioned, I'm not loving these sub pennies. We've seen these pennies go to like 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents. So you're sort of playing with fire way down here, but probably good for scalps. There's always a ton of liquidity, so you can get in and out on a lot of these names. Keep that in mind. MKD, but yeah, 0.40 maybe for a gap fill looks pretty good. Hunter, what are your plans on naked? I just mentioned my plans. Patrick, yeah, like screens and stuff. Okay, just answered you, Patrick. Are you going to do Jeffrey Mercado? You're going to do step-by-step tutorial for beginners. Good question. In terms of step-by-step, do you mean trading? It's hard to do step-by-step because guess what, Jeffrey? Every trader is different, right? There's guys who are, whether maybe you're a truck driver and you don't have much time to look at your phone all day. You can only maybe listen or maybe take a position and sell a couple days later. Can't really maybe sell at the end of the day. So there's different type of traders. Maybe there's someone's working all day. They can't check their phone. I'm primarily a day trader, and I find some great, obviously, swing opportunities as well. Based on technical charting, you could find some great fire sales and sort of sell 5, 10, 20% later. That's the best way to compound percentage-wise to build up a small account to a large account, in my experience, from turning $15,000 into over $2 million. That's really how I did it. Just compound gains, selling the 5, 10, 15% spikes at all times, and just continue the rinse and repeat patterns, whether that's a day trade, swing trade, long trade. So in terms of a step-by-step tutorial, I would do one, but it doesn't make sense because every trader is different and everyone wants to learn and everyone has a different strategy. So I try and teach the core value strategies around, buying dips, selling rips, looking for higher and higher lows on a daily candle. So let me show you what I mean by that, like higher and higher lows. So if you want to, maybe we'll look up CEI real quick. I think this will help a lot of the new traders, guys. Like, what do I mean by higher and higher lows? What's the pattern to look for in a day trade? So just to show you, right? Let's just take an example here. Even just in after hours, I can show you, or maybe even, yeah, I'll show you here during the day. So this opened up at, here you go, 9:30, right? Ripped up out of the open. That's a good sign. Then if you're going to play it, you wait for a dip. This would be a dip. You kind of soak this dip. You either sell the rip, it comes back and soaks. Then there's a huge candle, so okay, wow, that broke through the old candle. Now we know there's new upside. Then there's going to be a dip. Now there's a higher support on the low, right? So you have support there, 320. Now you have support here, 340, which is a 20% up move. Then we saw, boom, another rip, new highs. Then we see consolidate, 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 consolidate. Okay, consolidate, consolidate, boom, new highs. Consolidate, consolidate. Now we have support at 415. Boom, rips to 480. So if you've if you see this pattern, higher and higher supports, right? It's almost like an up, down, up, down, up, down. I call it the staircase to heaven. If you see this staircase to heaven, you're betting there's going to be that big breakout candle. Now, people ask, when do I sell, Spud? When's the best time to sell a stock? Well, the best time to sell a stock, in my experience, is selling into strength. You don't want to be buying the huge gap up candle. I personally, that's when I can get out with tons of liquidity. I can sell blocks and blocks and get filled, no problem, when there's a huge volume, right? Look at this squeeze candle, right? 9 million, 5 million, 7 million, 15 million shares going through, 12 million, 12 million. So there's, 50 million shares in 20 minutes at, just to round up, $5 a share. That's 15, 30, 45, 60, $75 million traded right in here. So you can easily get in and out in that kind of liquidity, guys. So if you time this all day, boom, you sell into what I call the strength. So that was a nice squeeze. That was a nice strength in there intraday. That's what I call the staircase to heaven. You look for higher and higher lows, and this would be a great A++ day trade setup all the way through. Obviously, it sold off volatility-wise down here and sort of just crashed, broke down, recovered nicely in after hours. But it was a nice trade all day, but it's been a nice trade all month. So yeah, hopefully that helps, Jeffrey. What do you think about APVO? Good entry. Yeah, I think APVO is a great entry. I currently own, I have 10,000 shares. I have 10,000 shares here at 17.53 on APVO. I love it. I'm looking to sell $30, $35, maybe $50, $60. I'm looking to make 200-300% on this name, but I like this name as a 2022 play. I've done a ton of research and due diligence on this name. I'm not worried about the constant day-to-day low volume, 2, 3, 4, 5% moves. I'm in for the big picture. I'm looking for that 100-200% gap up day. We rode this trade from $6, ran all the way to $90 back in 2020. It hit 500-600% within 2 or 3 days. It's a ton of momentum. I still do love this name. Tang Capital owns about 40% of the retail, 40% of the float, which gives about 1 million, 3 retail shares left that can be traded. So, there's not much selling going on. There's a little bit of retail selling, and that's what's causing them, I think, in my opinion, down a little bit. As I mentioned, here's my position. I love the chart. It doesn't look good from a daily chart perspective. Like, that doesn't look good, right? It gaps down, but I've estimated that Tang owns about 40% of the float in the 13, 14 range, all the way up to $18 a share. So I can't imagine this takes any more nosedive. I mean, consolidate a ton in the 20s to 30s. He also, Tang Capital also offered a $50 bid, takeover bid, $50. That's 15, 30. That's over 220x the share price now, guys. So, it's trading 220% underneath $50 takeout bid. Analyst price targets are all around the $50 range because of the Tang Capital buyout bid. So I do love this name down here for a potential upside play. So that's APVO. Hopefully that helps. It's one of my sleeper biotech picks for 2022. I'm not worried about the day-to-day action. To answer your question, what kind of account size do you use for day trades, and also what's percentage of your account do you generally use for day trades? Good question. Great question. So whether you're trading with $5,000, $10,000, $1 million, $2 million, I'm always looking for a 5 or 10% move in small caps. That's sort of my bread and butter. If I'm going to day trade, I'm going to look for a 5 or 10% move. In small caps or large caps, I may be looking to trade options. I'm not using a certain percentage of my account because it varies per trade. If I'm super confident and the trade looks amazing, it's a large cap play, I could go in with a few million. If it's a small cap, I'm very confident I might use 300, 400, 500 grand up to 700,000. It all depends for me. A lot of my average buying is around 50 to 100 grand. I try and buy dips, small size, 50 to 100K, and I try and sort of get in. And I only play high liquidity tickers. So anything that's trading billions of dollars or hundreds of million dollars a day, that's my bread and butter. I'm going to try and find the best entry. So in terms of, what percentage of your account you generally use for trades, it varies. It varies on the trade. But when you're growing a small account, $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, and you're trying to build up to 100K, 200K, the key is trying to sell those 10 or 20% rips, right? So if you have a $5,000 account, maybe use $1,000 in a day trade with a hard stop loss. So the max you lose is like 50 to 100 bucks downside. The max you gain, maybe you make 100, 200 bucks, and you just try and continue to hit base hits and build that 5,000 into 10,000 and slowly continue to grow. That's really the only way to build up these sort of smaller accounts. Hopefully that's helpful in terms of, account growth and stuff. How do you determine your stop loss? And I do apologize. I'm trying to go as fast as I possibly can. So I'm just talking at a million miles an hour. This is Shaquila Dreher. How do you determine your stop loss, especially for options? That is a great question, Shaquila. Options can make or break or blow a count. So when I go options, I usually go super tiny size because guess what? You can lose 99% of that option in a second, especially if you're doing same week expiration or same day expiration. I tend to like the 10 or 15% rule on an option, and if it hits, you sort of take the loss. I sometimes go 20-25% if I'm doing like crazy intraday SPY because it could drop 25% in like a couple seconds and then be plus 25% in another second. So if it's same day expiration, I try and use 10%, 20% max. If it's a long term, couple weeks out, months out, year out sort of option calls, I'll put a 10% move, because I'll have bigger size on those. So I'll have a 10% stop loss typically, because if it hits 10%, like, you're way out of the money at that point on a larger sort of later expiration. Tom Petty, what are your thoughts on Murrin? Average is $7. Should I get out? Not with them exiting the mixed shelf. I don't know, Murrin. I was short at 11. I loved it. I was pounding the table. I was pounding this. I was pounding this at $11 to be bearish. People were laughing at me. They said, watch the gap fill to 27. I don't see it. I don't see this chart. I'm seeing rejection at 11 twice in here. And then now we saw 2 straight down days. Tomorrow, it's down 20% in 2 sessions. The puts printed 30, 40, 50% here. I alerted to sell on the puts earlier. As I mentioned, guys, I'm not a fan of this Murrin. There's the Google was the reason why I was bearish off 11. The Google was just a renewal contract from 2018, from my understanding. 2, there was a $100 million shelf offering, which would totally dilute the float. That'd be 4 or 5x dilution on the float. I mean, that would be this thing would be done. Are they going to do dilution here? I don't know. If they do dilution here, this thing could easily drop back to the 5.4s here. So I don't know. It's a tricky one to play. Trade your plan on this one. I alerted sells in the 10s, 11s from the 5s. You doubled your money in a couple days. I alerted selling in there. I don't. Maybe a bullish play off 750s, 8s here. You might see some more red tomorrow, followed by a scalp up. We'll see. As I mentioned, Murrin, not too sure on that one. I don't love that. Don't love the play. I was bearish off 11. Spud, I see that gap on FAMi. Yeah, I already talked through FAMi. Mudtron. Oscar D, could you talk about, okay, what else we got? What's going on, guys? Tim Wyant's question, if I put $8 grand on ADTX tonight, what happens? Tim, that's a good question. If I put $8 grand on ADTX tonight, what happens? I mean, come on, that's like saying, hey, if I fly to Vegas and go on a private jet right now and throw it all on black, close my eyes, what's going to happen? I don't know. What's the thing going to swing? Is it going to land on black? I don't know. That's a ridiculous question. That's a good chuckle, though. I appreciate that. Jeffrey, BlackBerry forecast, Oscar, thank you. Do you think the market will get hot again in November? Ken, I do. I think we got to get through October, Ken. I think we got to get through October here, Ken S. We got to get through this pits here. I think we got some potential negative, more downside. But I do think we have an opportunity to potentially close on higher, maybe 460, 470 on the SPY. Maybe even, who knows, maybe even tap 480. So I do think we can see some bullishness in November, December. I think we're going to close out end of Q4 strong. Spud, you rocket. Rhino, thanks. Sunshine, DNMR. They had that short report. I remember going short. I made some bucks on this one. It's been consolidating around the 16 zones. Excuse me. Would probably put a stop under 15. Maybe target 21 on the upside, or even 18, 19 on the upside, which would be about 10, 15% move. How about TEL? I'm trying to get to these guys as fast as I can, guys, because there's so many people. There's like 100 people trying to ask questions. Scanners, Ryan Reyes, scroll back, sir. I talked through 3 scanners. Finviz, trade ideas. If you're serious about trading, it costs a little bit more. And then you could do Webull, top gainers, Finviz. Those 2 are great. There's a ton of other bunch of free scanners out there too. I'd definitely start with a free one. And then if you're really trading full time and using it, I definitely would check out trade ideas. Some cool stuff. MKD, I did. Life choices and changes. Spud, where would you say the best place to learn everything? I would say my YouTube. Go check out my past videos, guys. I've had like hundreds of positive feedback in DM. I mean, just definitely go check it out. You'll learn so much. I go through like where I want to buy, where I want to sell. People have said, my YouTube channel has saved them thousands of dollars on these, crappy courses or videos that you can buy from someone. I mean, I'm doing it for free here, so just go check it out. You tell me if you like it. Hopefully that looks good. RCAT, BBIG still have squeeze potential. Not sure, Suresh. Not sure, Ryan. What else? I'm gonna scroll down to I'm gonna try and get to people's questions. The quality, I appreciate daily recaps. I'm so happy that you find mine to be the most helpful out of listening to other traders' daily recaps. I appreciate that. Thanks for that. When do you think Lucy will do an offering? Hector Sualsado. I apologize if I mentioned your name wrong. I don't know. I thought they did an offering a while back, hence the big drop down, the flush to the 15s, 16s. I remember scalping that a little bit in there. I don't know too much around their SEC filings, but there's a lot of momentum right now on vehicle production. So, yeah, not sure. Ken, no problem. Ken, Ryan Reyes, AMC puts. I haven't looked at AMC in months. I don't even know where it's at, Ryan. That's a good question. Let's see where it's at. Technically speaking, on AMC, I'm sure a lot of people, AMC. Shane, Willie, I'll get to you on OCGN. AMC, yeah, looks like we're breaking down a bit on the daily here. Back down to 34. I would say anything slamming the 30, 31, 32, 30 zones. If that breaks, we're in trouble. If this triple bottom breaks, we're in trouble. We might see a slam back down to 20s. But, there's some big support here at 32, 31 zones. So maybe look for a potential buy in there. C3AI, where's that thing trading at? This thing has decreased big time. Whoa, that's not C3AI. What is it? AI. Here we go. Excuse me. $45. 44 looks like in your support short term here. Could be a very nice trade. Wow, this thing's just not doing well, huh? What is it? Earnings? 52 million. Yeah, this could be a nice trade in the low 40s here. We might see new lows. 44 is a 52-week low. C3A does look like potential bounce. Can you go over the indicators you use? Honestly, I don't even use that many indicators. This is is this Randy? No, this is Cloud Climber. Cloud Climber, I use VWAP. So that's just where things are moving from. I use moving averages, but specifically for swing trades. Mostly daily sort of support candles, green and red candles here as you can see, this is Webull. My favorite brokerage. I highly recommend. If you don't have a Webull account, you should open one. See my Discord for the brokerage recommendation. Big fan of it for the APM trading. Good exercising. It's good brokerage. I like them. I've tried a bunch of stuff, Fidelity for E-Trade, TD, and a bunch of stuff for day trading, but I like Webull. Good desktop version here you're seeing. I also VWAP I use at moving averages 200, 230, 50 maybe, and then I typically I'll use mostly supports, resistances, and then I'll basically determine off price action. So I just like to look at the 5-minute charts, and price action is my biggest thing. So if I'm seeing millions of dollars being bought at X range, X interval, like that's where I know that buyers are soaking a name for a move up. So price action really to me is the most important when trading small caps. Where are the big buyers coming in? Where are the big sellers coming in? For a large cap, it's not so much. People can sell for various reasons, but for small caps, I don't use too much indicators. Large caps, you could use moving averages, which are really helpful. At what point are technicals no longer relevant when a company makes massive positive changes and is basically a new company? Stephen, I honestly, I think I'm a big technical guy. I think technicals are always going to be relevant. No matter how, matter the hype, whether a stock's up 500%, down 50%, there's always going to be technicals. Where is the next support line? Where is the next resistance? Whether it's a new company, old company, whatever, there's still those technicals speaking where traders are going to move the stock or bring the stock or hope to get the stock to that level, whether it's up or down. So I think technicals always play a role. Steve Arnold, can you explain inside bar play? Inside bar play, yeah, sure. I can definitely explain an inside bar play. Let's look at Palt maybe. I think that might be an inside bar play. What did this close at? 8 there. Oh, that's a terrible close. An inside bar play would be this, Steve. Let's say tomorrow this stock goes a red candle here on the daily, a red candle. I'd call it an inside bar. So next to that red candle, it could be a green candle that explodes to new highs. It's called an inside bar play. So the day after a selling, typically on a small cap name, would be an inside bar play. Hopefully that's helpful. Daniel, yes, looking at markets in terms of recovering from a technical standpoint, yes. Also fundamental, yes. I know China energy crisis. There's a whole bunch of China crap going on. It's hard to decipher what's really going on out there. I don't think anyone really knows. You could follow the next support lines on the SPY. I gave the SPY supports resistances earlier on this meeting. So yeah, you go look at that. But in terms of fundamentals, you can just look at where the buy demand zones were for the SPY, and that's sort of how I would dictate where we're going for the SPY. I'm kind of losing steam here, guys. How do you spot market makers on level 2? That's a good question. Looking for algos, see where the buyers are coming in, where the flows are going, whether the flow's going in or out. That's how I'd learn. Tamashiro Kids, how did I learn how to trade stocks? Good question. In college, actually, about 8 years ago, I started trading very small. I only had maybe $100, $200, and I was buying IPOs. A couple of the big IPOs I bought was like Planet Fitness. A few other ones that I've mentioned in the past. That's sort of how I started, and I sort of dabbled a little bit when I was, going to class and stuff. I had no money. I was a college student, and so that's sort of how I started. And then my passion, I had a normal job for 4 or 5 years after school, sort of making money that way here in New York. And I was trading stocks on the side, doing a bunch of swing trading, trying to day trade, but it was challenging because I wasn't full time. And then really as of 2 years ago, 2.5, almost 2.5 now, I went full-time day trading, and that's when I started my account challenge. And I've turned 15,000 into over 2 million thus far. Day trading, large caps, small caps, whatever it was, the markets have been pretty hot. And sort of I've been building out portfolios through that. And that's sort of how I learned. I'm pretty sort of self-made. Tons of studying went into this. And it's not all glamour and what you see. When I first started in the couple years that I was just swing trading, I lost almost 80 to 90% of what I started with. I had about 100K saved up. I lost almost all of that. But you really have to lose to learn how to be disciplined and become a good trader. Since then I've, exploded over 3,000, 4,000% gains on some of my accounts. So it does take a learning curve to build, but I just encourage everyone to continue studying. If this is your passion at this, continue studying, because you can win. Anyone can win with the right opportunity, with the right discipline, the right studying. There's been so many good plays. So look at CEI. That's an opportunity where someone can really make or break or make a trading year. It's up 800% in a couple sessions. So stocks like that, you want to be you want to be around the lottery winners, and you want to sort of cut your losses quickly, and that's how you can really compound growth some of these accounts. So that's when I started trading. That's my little backstory. Hopefully that's helpful. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Jeff. Appreciate that. Have a beer. What do we got? Stephen D. Thanks so much. No problem. Justin Horton, how about OCGN? I own OCGN at 750 or 760 in my IRA. I have about 15,000, 20,000 worth. I'm waiting for the Covax or whatever it is, their vaccine that might be able to help save India for cases. I'm hoping that the move comes to 10 or 12 plus, but right now I think there's still little concerns. We've seen some selling pressure down 5 or 10% in the last couple sessions. I'm looking. I'm watching that one. Abdul, sell Marin puts or hold. I learned to sell on my puts earlier today on my Marin puts. Down 20% in 2 sessions. That's 2 big moves. It could recover back to the 9s, maybe Thursday or Friday. Maybe look to sell at the dip tomorrow. I don't know how much more downside you could possibly see, right? So to play safe, maybe lock up that 20, 30, 40% move on the puts. Awesome. No problem, Patrick. Happy to help. How many true years, Tamashiro, do I have under my belt? True full-time, 10, 15, 20 hours a day on the monitors. I have about a little over 2.5 years of experience. Seeing trades, I have probably about 4 or 5 years of experience, just based on trading from my other job before I went full-time. So I have a good amount of time in the markets, a ton of family around the markets, aunts, cousins, uncles, immediate family. A lot of folks I have around the markets, ton of friends are in the markets, sort of work for big firms. So a lot of knowledge. I've had a lot of knowledge, continue to learn. And so, you know, that's sort of how I'd put it. Discord link, appreciate it, tech team. Thanks for putting the Discord link below. Appreciate you guys, tech team. Keep it up. Thanks for doing that during the call. JE, how long did it take to make your first 100K in 1 mil? Honestly, it took me a while to get to the 25K. It took me about a month or two. Then I sort of held around that 30, 40K. And then I kind of just went. 100, 200, sort of consolidated around 200, almost like a stock, consolidated around 200K. And I blasted back up to 3, 4, 500, closed up first year around 4 or 500K gains. And then this year, up 7 figures. So it takes a while. But with discipline, you just keep going. And you just keep doing that. Do I scalp options? Yes. Jessica, OPAD is super beat down. OPAD, yeah, I remember that name. Not sure what it does. Daniel Mitch, no problem. I'm happy to help. So it still seems there's 100 guys, 100 people. Sorry, 100 people on the line. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm almost in an hour here, guys. Please DM me. Was that helpful? Almost 100 people now. Like, let me know. Was this session helpful? I tried to get to like 50 questions here from all of you guys. I ran through what I'm looking at, what I'm trading. What's some of the stuff. I hope this is helpful. Give me some feedback, some criticism. You can DM me at Discord. If you're not a follower, please do. I highly recommend the Discord. It's premium only. It'll eliminate a lot of the noise. We do a lot of coaching, teaching, where I'm entering, where I'm exiting, what I'm watching. So do please follow me on Discord if you'd like to see Discord at Spud Zone. Also, could follow me on StockTwits. 23,000 followers there. Weeble, 55,000 followers there. Feel free to give some follows there. I do post some trade ideas here and there, but most of my trade ideas are in the Discord. So do DM me. I try and get to all my DMs. I get hundreds of DMs a day. I try and get to these. This is the best way for me to go through questions quickly. I'm not a robot. I have a life, so it's hard to do 20 hours a day doing this. So hopefully it's helpful. If you missed the video, scroll back. Some great content, guys. Really appreciate the time, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Cheers. Love you all. Let's continue to try and trade well and find great market opportunities. Take care, guys. Okay, let me post.